Happy Wednesday, guys. I want to give you a little bit of encouragement today, something that the Lord has been working in me, and that is releasing and getting rid of what I have heard of called the Savior syndrome. So follow along. If you're like me, you're very involved. You're very passionate. When you hear things that are wrong and evil in this world, you want to address it. But it is exhausting trying to keep up with all of the sin that happens as a result to our fallen world. The world is never satisfied. The world is always demanding more. If you say something, you're cursed. If you say something, it's never enough. And it just seems like it's hopeless. And of course, as Christians, we don't bury our heads in the sand and act like there's not anything wrong going on. But we can go to the extreme where we feel like something is in the news or is brought up, we have to address it. We have to say something about it. And that's the Savior syndrome. We are not God. He is God. He is on the throne. And all we need to do is keep pointing back to him. We don't want to be hypocrites. We don't want to say one thing's wrong and another thing in the same vein is not. But that's the problem is we can't keep up. If you're going to address racism in this area, you've got to address racism in this area. If you're going to address immorality in this area, you've got to address immorality in that area. And it's exhausting. And I get people all the time that message me and say, why aren't you talking about this? We need to talk about this. This is what we need to bring up. And there are times I agree with the people and I'm like, you're right. And I try to speak on it. But it's wisdom to know when you are not equipped to take on an entire humanity's full of sin. And that's burying your head in the ground. That's realizing your inability to change people and understand that it's not going to be conversations on Instagram that changes people's hearts. A perfect example would be the topic of immigration. I won't get into it, but you can just imagine I have a lot of thoughts. Being the daughter-in-law of immigrants and then also living in a church full of immigrants and also only being a third-generation American myself, I also understand laws and procedures and things like that. I think that it's dangerous when we start looking at social media people to always have the answer and instead of looking at Jesus for the answer. And I'm guilty of that. I want to see somebody with rebuttal. I want to see somebody come back and have a great point and shred the lies of the enemy. But that has to come from God. So I want to encourage you today, if you enjoy the Lord and the peace of the Lord back in your life, like I've been praying for, is surrender it to Jesus. He is the Savior. He can handle all of this mess. All of it. I don't know how he does it, but that's why he's God. I love you.